Hey, everybody. Hey, Pam.
Hi.
And Patrick. I'm always so excited when Patrick's here. Everybody gets very happy when you are here, Patrick. I don't know if you know that.
You should tell my family.
Okay, we will.
That's probably our favorite guest.
They love him. I'll tell them all.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. So, how is everybody? How's it going? So, just want to say we're going to talk about Poshmark. We're going to talk about List Perfectly and about how we are very concerned, and I mean this sincerely, about everybody's account health and that we take this very seriously. And we just want to, in my opinion, we are the safest tool out there. And I am going to say that whether, Mr. Patrick would or not, I don't know, but I will. And I have no worries about my accounts. And if anybody knows me and is in my morning mastermind class, I used to say account health on a daily basis. I got away from it a little while because we talked about other things like niches, but we're going to go back to account health starting very soon because I think it's very, very important in 2026 because things are changing, right? There's some different things are happening on the marketplaces. And so that's another thing. Everybody stick to the end because we are going to talk about some current events that are going on, and we're going to do that at the end. So please, everybody, stay tuned. And Todd, I just have to, you are never safe, my friend. You are never, ever safe. I love Todd.
I said he was, so there you go. There's controversy right off the
bat. Okay, so this morning we're going to be talking about, I need to make sure I'm on do not disturb. I apologize. I thought I was. And we're going to be talking about List Perfectly and our tools and how we keep you safe. And I have never had any issues using us, and I am sure, I know Pam hasn't. And, and we go out of our way to make sure that we're safe. So today we're going to talk about why seller safety matters, how LP protects us on the different marketplaces, what your browser extension actually does. That's why Patrick's here, because he is much smarter than Pam and I put together.
Well,
for sure.
Telling lies.
What is that? Do you guys hear that?
No.
No. What is it?
What are you hearing?
I hear myself talking back at me.
No.
Okay, interesting.
Congratulations.
Lucky you. Voices.
Very, very odd. I'm glad you guys
it's just in your head, Trish.
It's not in my head. I have to figure out. Oh Lord, that is really disconcerting. So
yeah, take a look at your settings. I'll give kind of my.
I'm gonna remove myself. You guys.
All right. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm glad that we're talking about this. I mean, it's really interesting. I've been with List Perfectly for almost 6 years to the day. Account safety and compliance and things like that has always been a top priority. And it's been really interesting through the years to see kind of this wave of what people want to do or not do, or what's safe, what's not safe. Marketplace changes as well. And now it's just a lot different than it was even 6 years ago as we fast forward to today. It's a very serious thing that I always kind of make a joke behind the scenes, like, don't mess with people's accounts, don't mess with their images or their money. If a listing or something like that happens, that's one thing, but their images, their accounts, that's a big problem. So it's always something that's really taken seriously, and almost to the point where, I think sometimes it goes unnoticed, but there's literally features that are built inside of List Perfectly that are built around marketplace compliance, especially like when we talk about recent Poshmark changes, their new delisting or relisting and things like that. She's back.
I'm really sorry about that.
No, cool.
I fixed it. So give me 1 second and I'll get back to what we were doing. Cool. Yeah, I could actually hear you that whole time because I figured out what the problem was. And I agree with you, right? And I mean, it is very important that we do not mess up with anybody's business. It is, because, you know, we are all relying on this. Most of the people who use our service are full-time resellers. This is their number one thing that they're doing, that they're feeding their families. And even if it isn't, if it's a part-time or even a side hustle, you could be relying on that money. And so it's really important that we do not do anything dumb, or anyone else, or we try to dissuade you from doing anything dumb either, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, I was starting to say a little bit about how some of the features with List Perfectly are built with compliance in mind. I mean, when you look at a few that come to mind, stale listings, some of the posh sharing stuff, or sending offers, things like that. These are all things that I know we're going to get into it, but these are things that they're not just created and it's the wild, wild west, go do whatever you want. There are
Right.
guardrails that are purposely like put in place that help to make sure that, you know, you don't get yourself into this corner. I mean, I remember early, way back, this was a compliance thing way back, and now people don't really notice it as much, but way back in the day, you remember when everybody would put in their description on eBay, like, I accept PayPal or
Yeah.
money order or whatever. Well, when people first started cross listing, they'd be sending their listings all over the place.
Right.
And then you'd get this message, and Mercari would be taking down your listings, and they don't tell you anything.
No, you don't know why it's happening.
Why?
Right.
And then you go look at the listings and you start to look with a little bit closer eye, and you're like, oh, you said PayPal
Or eBay. Or you
or
said, go
eBay.
look at my other eBay
Whatever.
listings,
So, yeah,
or
so
whatever.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So lo and behold, Word Alert was born out of, you know, exactly that, because yeah, you kind of get yourself into those unwanted jams. When
Exactly.
you're just trying to work. So it
And
is
I
something
also
to
think
look
some
for.
of it, sometimes the platforms are not completely upfront about with, you know, figuring out exactly what you should be doing. And so sometimes we know things that maybe a reseller doesn't. And so, you know, if you can help in that way. So the first thing, you know, I think List Perfectly, for them, safety is not just a feature, right? For them, and I say that like I'm not in it, but for you guys who build and are the architects of this stuff, safety is the number one concern for you, because you don't want anyone, and this is my number one concern, is account health, right? So account health, account health, account health. I mean, I have a t-shirt that says that on it that Chris Dunnard made. That is how often I say this. And because if your account is not in good standing on any of the platforms, it can suppress how much you sell. And so making sure that you stay in good standing is extremely important. And one of the ways you can get out of good standing is by doing these certain things that we try to help you make sure you don't do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I think we think about seller safety first.
For sure. I mean, it is always built around that. And that even goes with even whenever it's not when it's initially built, but when there's changes. You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
we're integrated with so many marketplaces that staying on top of that, there's always something that's changing a little bit. And not just from a tech side, but literally from like what the rules are, or
Right.
you know, oh, this common practice you've done on this marketplace since it existed,
You can't do that
anymore.
Or it's not important anymore.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. It's kind of rolling with the changes, but keeping this kind of at the forefront of all of it.
Agreed. And so I think that we really try to be transparent and to give you all the controls so that you know. But the number one thing we do is we don't take your passwords. We don't have your passwords, and we don't have your username. So you don't have to worry about being hacked. We don't have them for anyone to hack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, our tech team's incredible with the back end and the safety and everything that's put in place to protect just us as a company anyways. But then on top of it, the way that you integrate with List Perfectly and your marketplaces is just another layer on top of it. I mean, we have tools like Connection Wizard, sure, but you're not entering your password. You're not logging in through us to go to another marketplace or anything like that. So it's really just pretty slick that it can connect and, get you to where you need to be without having to, basically hand over the keys every time you want to do something.
Right. And another level of protection, which isn't really involved in this, but I'm going to bring it up because I think it's important. It kind of goes with what you just said, is we also have like the ability for you to give if you have employees, what they can see, right? So we have that level of protection for you also inside LP.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very real thing to work amongst a team and to work with virtual assistants or whatever it might be, and that looks very different for each user. Who are these VAs that you're working with? What do you want to share with them? What don't you want to share with them? So kind of taking it a step that gives you that kind of control. So at least inside of your own List Perfectly account that you feel safe and everything. I mean, look,
Right.
in today's day and age, especially, with all the advancement in technology through AI and things like that, it's like you never really, feel that comfortable. I mean, how you talk about something and then lo and behold, there's an ad for it
Yeah,
immediately.
that is a little unsettling.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't really want to feel icky all the time. Like, oh, they're
True.
watching.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, though, like, it's something that we take so serious because there's so many marketplace integrations and things that we support. So it is something that we make sure to watch and
Then we have our own Teresa Cox giving everybody everything all of the time.
well, hey, whatever works for you. I mean,
Works
look,
for you, T.
I mean, there's all those people that have the same password for everything. I mean, different strokes for different folks. That's what they say. So
absolutely. And what Patrick said is that really is important that List Perfectly understands this, and I'm glad that they embrace it so much, is that everybody does things differently. Not any one of us sell exactly the same or have we don't all have virtual assistants.
Right.
And so List Perfectly allows us to use those tools to, however we choose to do our business. It's not like one way and that's it. We've got lots of different tools because everybody does their business differently. And I think that's a really important thing that Patrick mentioned.
I don't disagree with you at all. And I also think why these things matters is because being suspended or having your listing ability curtailed for so many days, getting a slap on the wrist and, you can't list for 3 days. If you're a full-time reseller who's listing every single day, 3 days of not listing can really hurt your business. And when I say not listing, we're talking about on a marketplace. We don't ever curtail that. But, that would be nothing with us, but it wouldn't let you make anything live. And I think knowing that your account is secure on our end, because we don't have access to anything, only you have access to it. And I don't think I can emphasize that enough, because there's very few places where that is really the case, that, our fingers are not in your pie, so to speak. We can't do anything without you. And so that is really an important thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I know, I think, I mean, I don't know if we've really talked about it. I was basically born and raised in the selling world. I remember going to garage sales when I was a little kid, when eBay first came out with my dad. Fast forward years later, multiple different shops, different kind of businesses, whatever. But my point being in saying all this is that I've personally seen the effect that it has to go through something like losing an Etsy shop, which is extremely difficult. I mean, it is. If it happens for whatever reason, it's extremely difficult to recover. No matter what that reason may have been, it could have been something that you felt like wasn't a big deal, but in their terms, it needed to happen. So it's not about really arguing that. It's more the point of that it can be crippling out of nowhere. Your avenue is just completely shut off. And so I know firsthand, like, really experiencing it and seeing like, wow, that was impactful. and really hard to recover from.
Yeah. And I think that, for a very long time, like your dad, I was a one platform seller, right? I sold on eBay. That was it. I just sold on eBay. Now I don't, of course, only sell on eBay, but now if somebody was starting, I would never recommend to be a one platform seller ever.
Oh.
And it's not just because I work here. That isn't why. Part of it is many hooks in the water, you get bigger fish, all those things. But one of the major reasons is what you just said. You can do something or have a bad experience or have a rash of bad experiences where you go from top rated to below standard on eBay and your listings are suppressed. You may not lose your account, but you could lose the ability to sell, right? Never mind losing your account, which is even a step further than that, and your business is crippled. At least if you're on multiple places at one time and you're doing all the things, even if one goes down, you hopefully can make the others rise.
And that's why I started with List Perfectly. I think it was back in 2019. We had Picturegate, and then all these people were getting suspended. And I'm like, if this happens to me, because I was a one platform seller as well. And I'm like, if eBay takes this down, I'm in big trouble. And so that's why I went to List Perfectly, because they are housing all of my information. And if something happens on one of the platforms, I have other options. And List Perfectly has also let me expand to other platforms as well that I wasn't selling on before.
Okay. And I just want to, I love Tommy. I just want you all to know before I say what I'm going to say. I love Tommy. But no matter what I say, the dude is going to say the opposite, no matter what. If I've said it once in my life, he's going to be like, Trish, do you remember in 1932, you once said blah, blah, blah. Tommy's right. And I still stick by this. I don't think if you're a brand new reseller that you should go on every single platform the first week you open. I think you will be overwhelmed. It would be too difficult. I do think that I'm glad you could take a joke, Tommy. I do think that getting good at one and then adding another and then adding another is a smart way to do it. And some of them are very easy to add, right? Mercari is a pretty simple platform. It's a pretty simple listing flow. Same with Depop, seems pretty a simple listing flow. So some of them I think you can get really good at really fast. eBay is a beast to tackle, of course, and I think Etsy is a beast to tackle. And those may take a little while longer, but I absolutely think you should be on multiple platforms and learn them, concurrently. So let's talk about the workflow a little.
Yeah, I'm letting your slide load.
Oh, it's not there?
It's there now.
Oh, okay. For me, it's the human-led interaction that starts everything, right? Like, so tell us what that is about and how do you feel about the workflow?
Yeah, I mean, look, everything with List Perfectly is human-led, meaning that you are the one that's setting it up. You're the one initiating it. It's happening on your device. This isn't a one-time setup. As much as some people want some features to be that way, it's not primarily for compliance and things like that. It's not this one-time setup that you set your settings and you walk away from it, you close your device, your laptop or whatever, log off, and we're going to go on your behalf and complete all of these actions all the time.
So even ones that we do have that are a little bit like that, like our LP sharing, our Poshmark sharing, that still has to be open. You have to interact with it every once in a while. Like there's still some interaction that has to happen.
Absolutely. And, wow, that was exactly the one, one of the features that I'm alluding to and saying that as much as some people would love for some features to be this, it just runs and it runs perfectly all the time. The realistic view on it is that it's not, and your device does need to be on for working with List Perfectly and some of these features. And one of the primary reasons though is compliance.
Right.
Of course, there's a technological side of that as well, because there are companies that do it a different way. They take a different approach. But right now in List Perfectly's life, it makes more sense to do it this way. It's better for the user. It's better for the user's accounts. Even though, like, sure, I would love the convenience on some features to just be able to say, like, hey, this is going to run. It's going to run all the time, and you don't need to do anything. But
Right.
it's not where we're at right now.
But it's also, I don't think it's where the platform is at either. People end up in what we call share jail, right? So there are downsides to allowing things to just go, and we don't want to ever be the reason you go there.
Yeah, we all know. I mean, Poshmark sharing has been around since the beginning of Poshmark.
Since the beginning, yep.
We know how important it is. As we started to introduce some tools to help users with this, we started very slow. I mean, we spent a lot of time monitoring and investigating and seeing, okay, like, what is realistic sharing? What does that look like? Are you going to sign up with List Perfectly and take your 100 listings that you have on Poshmark and immediately start having 10,000 shares a day? No, but it's in place for a reason, to put you into this more guardrail style sharing that is better. Now, once your closet reaches a certain amount of listing, it kind of unlocks additional settings that will put you in a place to do increased shares. But which, again, that can totally be something that is extremely frustrating at times for some people. They want the full control, and we're just not always willing to do that at the risk of compliance or account safety or whatever it might be.
I love having Patrick here because he explains things, and sometimes I was like, oh, I never even thought of it that way. The whole human interaction thing. So before List Perfectly had its own sharing tool, I had a different sharing tool that I did set and forget. But the way you just explained it is it's on our device, which is like, oh yeah. And it does mimic that I'm actually doing it because it's coming from my device. And I never thought about it that way. And again, that's something that List Perfectly does to take care of us that we might not think about. And I truly appreciate that. And it's a new way for me to look at it.
You just had a light bulb moment right there.
To
the dean. Yeah, I mean, no, it is. And I mean, Pam, I'm going to be completely honest. I work very closely with the support team. I mean, there have been multiple conversations where it is a point of frustration at times where people, they want to do that. Maybe they're coming from a different service, or maybe they just have this idea in their head on how they want it to work and everything. And, the feedback is always welcome. At this point in time right now, this is how it works. And that's not to say it won't change, or different technologies will be utilized that will put us in a different position to make it more of that, maybe what somebody would expect, the full automation. But it's not going to be just, oh, let's just do it just because they want to go faster. That's not our goal. From a tech side of things, I mean, things are always possible, but it's at what cost?
I think it's great the way you've just had me look at it in a different way, and I totally understand it better now and where we're coming from. And I think it's fantastic. And we might have to restart it every now and then, but I get it now because it is human led, and that's where it's protecting us. And I truly appreciate that.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, so human-led interaction. So the next thing is like what we don't do. So we kind of just went over it. We're built for safety, right? And we're human validated behavior. We want whatever's happening, you have to be involved. We don't log in for you. We don't take over your account. We don't do automated posting in the sense of you are still involved in that. And we don't perform most actions without you clicking, there's some sort of interaction at some point that you've decided this is what's happening.
Yeah, it's it kind of goes to so like I said in the very beginning, I said I've been with List Perfectly for just coming up on 6 years, and in the beginning, it was, right away feedback was like, oh, hey, I don't, I've got all these tabs open. I don't like these tabs. Why am I going here? I don't want to go here. Blah, blah, blah. Well, here we are all these years later.
No tabs, baby.
Some of the tabs are eliminated, but some of the tabs are still there because it allows you to, you don't want item not as described. You don't want to be working with a virtual assistant and realize when the item sells that size says large, and when I pulled it out to ship, it was a small. Like, that's your time to make the adjustments and everything. So while a lot of tabs are replaced and they're it's way less than it used to be at one time, there is still a space for it. And in fact, as new features come out, we still build in ways for people to utilize old functions because they have found the value in,
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just say Teresa has found the value.
Yeah. I mean, some users, longtime users, that's how it works. And that's what makes sense to them. And at the end of the day, no matter what, if you're using, not going to the tabs, you're still going there to handle shipping, or you're still going there to handle offers or whatever it might be. It's just that, different isn't always bad.
I absolutely it because I can double check my work to make sure I didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I found plenty.
She's like, trust me, because I screw up. So, and the thing about marketplace compliance, I think that this is really, really, really important. We take their rules seriously and we follow the rules. And whether we did or not, I would tell you all you should, because risking the only two things that you have going for you as a reseller is your account health and that you ship somebody else's item when it's sold. And what I mean is those are the two most important things, right? Somebody buys something from you, they own it. Get it out of your possession as fast as you say you will, right? So you buy something from me, I don't own it anymore. I need to get it out of my possession and send it to you. And the second thing that I can control is my account health. And the account health on any of them are so, so important. And I know that I always go back to eBay because eBay, and now I think Etsy. So I think eBay and Etsy have the most rules about your account and how you work and you staying within certain guidelines and staying within certain percentages. And you should know what those are, and you should look at them on the regular, and you should know. But one thing you don't have to worry about is us making any of that stuff harder. We're not ever going to put you in a position where you're doing something that's out of compliance. And that is very important to me.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said that being in this industry, or being a seller, an online seller, is not the easiest thing in the world, because you're working with so many different companies and you're kind of at the mercy of their changes, their rules and things like that. So, if we as List Perfectly can eliminate some of that concern and give some of that control back, is huge in my eyes.
Right. And so then I just like to put people I know up in slides. So this is what happened this afternoon. But I do think it's true. I called them, all three of them. I hope Star was the only one who hadn't gotten back to me. So I hope Star's okay with her little face being up there. But I do think that is part of the reason why people trust us, because we're compliant, because we don't take we don't have your info, so I do think that is why. And I think marketplaces trust us, or platforms trust us, because we don't do anything out of the bounds.
Yeah. I mean, I think that in a time where things are just different in the space and marketplaces are different, that a lot of things speak to a lot of volume for List Perfectly. I mean, been around for a long time, been a leader for a long time, multiple, I mean, gosh, Trish and Pam, you guys know better, but like, how many sponsorships have been a part of, and or guests come to our platform. So all these things kind of speak to like, okay, we're not doing things. And then on the other side of things, the companies that we know that are using List Perfectly day in and day out and
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah. And that is something we don't really make a lot of mention of, but it's true, right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
there are some large companies that use us, and they use us because they can trust us that we're not going to do anything to put them in jeopardy. And so I do think we don't really talk about that, but I think it has value to say.
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves to talk about like, oh, I want to go as fast as possible, or I want to reduce clicks and things like that. Like, yeah, of course, that's what List Perfectly is built to do. And
Right.
but this is something that probably doesn't get talked about enough. And it's like, oh, maybe I should have talked about that when it's too late. When you've gotten, maybe you've gotten your hand slapped or whatever it might be. And it's like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
And anybody who's gotten their hand slapped, it only takes once to think, oh crap,
Right.
I don't need to do this again.
No. And I mean, sometimes you don't get the luxury of hand slapped. Like I wish sometimes they would just be like, hey, you can't do that. Not you're gone.
Well, and there's other things, things change, Teresa made note of it earlier up in the chat. She said, been there, done that, 100 to 10% don't recommend or something. Sometimes things change on a platform and then you can't sell what you've been selling, So it's not just sometimes things change. I mean, I know this isn't really what we're talking about, but sometimes things change that what you're doing you can't do it anymore and you have to change, So there's always going to be those external factors. So at least to know that what you're doing is within compliance so that you can only control what you can control. So to make sure that you're not doing something, because, I'll say it, you don't have to, Patrick. There are companies that are doing stuff. It's like the Wild West, and they're doing things that put their customers, in my opinion, in jeopardy. And I know people who have been slapped around by eBay and Etsy for doing things that, they thought, oh, well, it was offered to me, so it's got to be okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to say it. I said it.
Yeah. No, it is tough, and it's all about walking the line appropriately and
right.
space that makes sense for not just for the company, for the users, for the marketplaces. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you have to accept that you hope that everybody's doing their part, including the marketplaces, that like, hey, we have to put these rules in place because we have to protect ourselves, our buyers, our shoppers, our sellers. So I understand that. So like the tools that you're using should abide by that as well, that they're doing their part to protect you and not putting you into positions that, could be detrimental.
Totally agree. Okay, so that's kind of our little presentation about why we think we're the safest tool. And I'm going to stand by that. And now we're going to talk a little bit about current events for a second. So, there's a lot of stuff happening on Posh here, Patrick.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, a marketplace they would probably take the cake for the most changes
in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah. Sometimes it's weird. Like there's tech changes, and then there's like user behavior changes, and then there's like we're gonna change everything, kind of thing. I mean, like right now, we know for sure.
And a lot of times we don't find out about it until
it happens.
We don't find out about it until until users tell us, and we're like, what?
Yeah. So like right now, for example, like I mean, first off, we know all the changes they made to their delisting process. We know the changes they've made recently to what's recommended for sharing or not sharing. But right now they're also, which I think is actually kind of cool, they're moving away from their square photo requirement. So last week we saw like this big sweeping change. And then it got walked back. And then we're starting to see it roll out to some accounts now again. So starting to see, and we've even seen like messages straight from Poshmark saying like we're moving towards this more portrait size,
so 4x3 size.
Yeah, which they said that is, they're finding better for shoppers and for.
Well, it's better for mobile. I mean, we talked about this morning in Mastermind. Over 60% of the business in eBay says is done on mobile. And I would assume that number is even higher on Posh, because Posh really is an app more than a based for a desktop. So, it's and everybody's phones are, that size. And so it makes sense that they're going to it. But what is the difficulty? I mean, because when I went into my own closet, all of my stuff had been chopped, right? And so then it all went back. I haven't looked today to see if it's gone back again, but
yeah, it's kind of there's definitely a lot of changes happening. I mean, look, and this is let me be clear, this is with List Perfectly or without.
Oh, yes, it has nothing to do with us. Right.
You turn off List Perfectly, go to a different browser, upload photos, and it's like, why is there this unwanted cropping taking place, basically? So, yeah, it is kind of a moving target right this moment. But I will say that we are actively working on to see what we can do on our end to help it. So that, it might be, most users don't even realize this. We've always had a feature called modify images before upload, which actually helps if you're taking photos more rectangular. When you're cross-listing to Poshmark, they're getting into a more square format because that's what they required forever. Right. So kind of the same idea here. If they're going to make those changes and everything, I mean, first off, you'd want the changes to be correct on Poshmark side too, without List Perfectly.
Right.
But so we are actively seeing what we can do to help with some of this. Not all users are experiencing it, number one. And number two, we're kind of just seeing how is it being rolled out? What does it mean for existing listings? What does it mean for, new listings and things like that?
Okay. So I get a question, Patrick. We talked about this morning in Mastermind. Anybody who's new, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, we have our own community arm, our own educational arm, and it's called Listing Party. If you belong to List Perfectly, you automatically belong to that. Please come in and see us. We'd love to talk to you. But I run a mastermind class every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, and there's lots of other parties. But this morning in Mastermind, we specifically talked about this, and we talked about the feature. So when you go into your extension, and it's under extension settings, I believe.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So you go in there, and we looked at it this morning, and you can toggle it on and off. Does it automatically, if I'm brand new to LP, is it automatically toggled or automatically toggled off? That's my first question.
Automatically on.
Okay, enabled. Great.
Yes.
Enabled. And what it does is it will take whatever photo you take and give it to the platform in the size that it wants.
Kind of. So all the platforms have different image requirements. Most of them do not care what your format is or your orientation. Your ratio. Most of them don't. It's more about just an overall size. So if you take something more, rectangular and upload it, as long as it's in the size constraints, it's fine.
Okay.
Poshmark, Vestiaire, used to be Tradesy. I think that's it right now. They do have more of a requirement, it needs to be in a more of a square format. Well,
great.
If you take a photo that's super elongated,
right? Yep.
Wedding dress. Think wedding dress. Yep. You're taking a photo of a wedding dress, and you upload this without that setting. There's going to be all this cropping that takes place on Poshmark. And so what List Perfectly does is, if you have that setting enabled, that wedding dress is going to be full size into a square.
Okay. So it makes it a little smaller. So instead of cropping it, you can still see the exact same photo.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not so much about the dimensions of the image. I don't want people to think, oh, my image is getting smaller, therefore it's blurry, therefore
no. Yeah.
It's that it gets it into the square that's required to see your image. So with these changes, you can think about it kind of the same way, in that, okay, Poshmark is moving to this. The problem right now is really more that there's this unwanted cropping with List Perfectly involved or not involved. And
right. No, it's on them, but we just don't know. So my question is, this is Liz, I believe. And she's asking, for those of us taking square photos, do you recommend we start taking them in 4:3 ratio?
I mean, right this second, I'm going to have a hard time making any kind of recommendation, because I'm looking at it going, wait a minute, I can upload a 4:3 to Poshmark, but the cropping is happening in a square, but then when they view it, it looks different.
Still.
Like,
Okay.
this is a little tough to make like an official recommendation on like what this would change. Personally, the square format shouldn't be an issue either, though, because really, if it's square and we do kind of something similar, what that would mean is instead of your white space coming on the sides,
It would come on the top and the bottom. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So it might be just a little bit different than what we're used to seeing all the time over there. But right this moment, it's kind of just like a current issue, but that's something that should be changed soon.
Okay. So we're just going to try to hold on, and we'll make a maybe. I mean, Liz, I agree with Liz. I would like to have a recommendation for people eventually. Because, you know, for years, we were told to use square photos for years and years. And, you know, just like we were told we could only use white backgrounds. I mean, there's lots of things that have changed, right? Google walks things back, Google changes, AI has made changes, and things move along. And so I certainly don't want to be somebody who says, well, that's the way you've got to do it if things have changed. Karen just said, so in English. Am I still able to use my default camera setting on my iPhone? My answer would be yes, Karen, right? Because the default, I believe, would be 4:3.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. Yes, it should be. But the thing is, like some iPhones, if you're in their app, in their camera application, you could have it set to square. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
Kind of, it kind of depends. But yeah, I mean, like right this second, I'm definitely not going to make this sweeping statement that would say everybody should take their photo in this format and go there. Because ideally, Liz Perfectly will be able to
use whatever
in what these requirements become. And like I said, on most marketplaces, like it's not that big of a deal. You don't even really notice it. Like, one can. This kind of goes to like why we recommend sometimes, like if you're getting started with Liz Perfectly and you're already on eBay and Poshmark, to bring your photos from eBay.
Oh God, yes. Don't bring them from Posh.
Poshmark has little overall smaller images. eBay allows much larger images. So the quality is higher and things like that. So it's not like it's the end of the world, but it is just something to like seriously consider if you're already on these two platforms. Well,
and it's also, I mean, you say it's not the end of the world, but I have known a multitude of people, Kathy Cox being one of them. When she first started, she was a Posh seller, and her images were not good enough to even get over to eBay. So
yeah. I say when I say it's not the end of the world, I guess I'm saying more like to getting started with Liz Perfectly.
Oh God, no. Please, we'll help you.
For your business, probably definitely get your largest images.
Yeah. And I say that to everybody. If you're not starting in Liz Perfectly, if you're using the simple plan, if you're going marketplace to marketplace, or if you're on business and you like to start in eBay, absolutely. I mean, on a platform and bring it in, absolutely start on eBay or Etsy. They have the most robust, listing form, and they also have the best images. So bringing them over at that point, you don't want to do it the other way around, if that makes sense. Tommy says eBay, Depop, Mercari are square based, right? No, eBay will take whatever now, correct?
I think so. Honestly, it all runs together. Again, I don't want to be clipped off saying, "Hey,
Tommy,
he said to do this."
Yeah, that's what Tommy would do. So, Tommy, why don't I say this? After we have a little bit more info about Posh, maybe we'll have a thing about pictures, and we can get Patrick to tell us all the things.
Yeah, I just don't have the requirements right in front of me, but I believe you can have some different size.
I think so too.
It has to be square. I think it can be. But
yeah. Well, the thing about square is it fills up a lot of the space, right? So you don't have a lot of dead space usually. The problem is now this. So if it's going to look better on the phone, we may want to change. That's why I think we need to talk about this. Does anyone know if the new Posh pic settings have been compressed like they have been in the past? That's a good question, Teresa.
Yeah, I'm not positive again. Like it's something that's like so new and changing. And I thought we were going to see the big change last week, and then that kind of changed, and we're seeing a little bit of it this week on some accounts. So I'm not sure exactly.
You know, and Posh did announce this at Posh Fest. You know, they did announce this. They said this was going to happen. They, you know, it just unfortunately they didn't. Whatever happened, they, you know, waited this long, and then they don't announce it again, and so then everybody's kind of, you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get it. It's, you know, it's tough on their side to make changes. They have lots of users, lots of listings.
Yeah.
And when they do, I mean, the reality is like Mrs. Poshmark isn't calling Mrs. List Perfectly.
No, it's very true. That is very, very true. But they're not even telling the Poshmark children what's happening. Never mind the next door neighbor.
Wake up and you're like, Mom and Dad, what have you done?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's just how it is. And you know, I wish sometimes that it was a little bit different, but that's just how it works right now. And so I'm kind of a little leery to like really say like, oh, this is for sure.
No, totally. I would like to just throw out there that I personally, and I'd be interested to know what Patrick thinks, and you, Pam, also, I don't mean just me, but I think Poshmark is on the verge of making a lot of changes across the board. I think 2026 is going to be a new era for them. This is my own personal opinion. I think they're going to be, you know, their upper echelon is basically gone. It's all new people, and they've been bringing in lots of new people, and I really think things are going to change.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go.
She agrees with me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, change isn't necessarily always a bad thing. I mean, I think it's been kind of interesting what they've done so far, just like with the delisting and relisting, and the like as from a shopper side, yeah. It's kind of interesting, you know, like
but the delist relist thing, they have really, I don't understand.
That is, you know, much different than it's always been. And you know, the sharing seems to be changing some. So
yeah, the sharing's definitely changed.
I'm happy about that one.
I don't mind the changes, the Q4 changes.
I know. Why do we do that? I don't understand.
If you're listening, Poshmark.
If you're listening, Posh,
but,
do it in Q2.
Yeah. That'd be fine. But
so does anybody have any Patrick questions? I'd love to put in the chat. Feel free. Patrick, we always now nobody so far they haven't been jumping down your throat, so I don't think they do. But hey, I really appreciate you coming on here. I know this isn't your real job, and I know you do this just to appease us, so I do appreciate it. And the masses love to see you. So
no, it's fun. I like doing it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody has any questions or not, but I will share just like a little bit of a tease. We do have some new stuff coming that's really exciting, not disrupting stuff. That is not our goal, you know, Q4, definitely not our goal. But we do have some new stuff coming. And while I'm not going to show anything, I just think that as we get into Thanksgiving week, we hope to have some new tools that will help you list faster.
Well, that's exciting.
It is. It is really
cool. You're going to spill tea.
I didn't know either.
Yeah, no. We're hoping to have some stuff coming out very soon, and yeah, it'll be fun. So we'll see though, and yeah, it was fun to come on. I like doing this. It's a good topic.
Good topic. I really do appreciate it. Pam, sorry.
No, that's okay. I was going to say I really think Patrick's probably one of our viewers' favorite guests.
Agree completely. They go on about you, Patrick. So Robin says just a hint, LOL. He did give you a hint. He said you were going to be able to list
faster. Yeah.
Next week we can wait.
Thank you guys.
Last week.
Anybody wants to come to listing party, we're going to go over there for our after party. Patrick, if you're not busy, you're more than welcome to come. If not, we totally understand. And I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. If we don't see anybody before then, and get ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, all the things. Hope everyone has a great time. Patrick, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Bye.